Hi, I'm Lanisha Robinson, your host for Career and Technical Education, #Build a Future. Our goal is to show a variety of the career and technical education CTE programs we have within St. Lucie Public Schools. These programs are leading the way directly into the workforce for many of our students. Students are earning industry certifications, participating in state and national competitions from the skills learned directly from their CTE classroom. We at St. Lucie Public Schools take pride in knowing our CTE students are actively closing the skills gap needed in our community. In this episode of Career and Technical Education, #Build a Future, you will meet Colonel James Golden from Treasure Coast High School and learn how these students are getting the leading edge in JROTC and Aerospace Science. All right, welcome. Please go around and introduce yourself. We'll start with right here.
Good morning. Yep. So my name is Colonel Doug Golden. I'm a retired Air Force colonel. 28 years of active duty service in the Air Force. Retired on July the 1st of last year. And I have been a teacher now at Treasure Coast High School, part of the Air Force JROTC program for about 9 months.
Oh, okay, welcome.
Thanks.
I'm Cadet Shah Hussein. I've been part of the unit. I'm in my junior year of high school, and I've been part of the unit since my sophomore year. And yeah, I'm a student in the drone class.
I'm Cadet Jenna Harris. I've been ROTC for 3 years. I'm on my senior year, and I am the Inspector General of Treasure Coast High School.
Okay, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. All right, so Colonel Golden, can you enlighten us? I know you kind of briefly share with us in your introduction how long you've been teaching. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Sure. So I've been in instruction or education for the better part of my Air Force career. I started out after I went through undergraduate pilot training in 1991. I became an instructor pilot and taught undergraduate pilot training for 5 or 6 years. So I always had a love for education. As I said, was an instructor pilot for a lot of my career. And then after 28 years in the service, when it was time to go find a next career, next thing, just decided I had a passion for Air Force Junior ROTC, get to work with outstanding young cadets like these two that represent 120 strong at Treasure Coast High School, Air Force Junior ROTC. And it's just a really good, enjoyable experience to be in the classroom with them.
Okay, well, thank you. So can you tell us, what do you do to stay current in the field?
So there's really 2 pieces to that. First, there's the Air Force Junior ROTC piece, and then there's the education piece, especially as it relates to the aerospace science. For the aerospace science side, I this year have gone through about a 55-hour program that's online through the Unmanned Safety Institute, small unmanned aircraft systems, most people would call them drones, and just learning the latest and greatest in the technology. It's a very, very evolving and rapidly evolving field, so a lot of individual study there. And then for Air Force Junior ROTC, get training from the Air Force to include this summer when, during the break of the school, I'll go to Maxwell Air Force Base in Montgomery, Alabama for about 10 days and get some good education and training on all the Air Force Junior ROTC aspects of my job.
Okay, and can you tell us, with our viewing audience and parents that are thinking about aerospace science, looking at Treasure Coast High School, JROTC, why is it important to have this at the high school level?
Yeah, so this is an awesome opportunity, Ms. Robinson, for kids, and it doesn't matter whether the kid is someone who desires to go to college and maybe even on to grad school and do a lot of education, or whether they think they're somebody that maybe when they're done with high school wants to enter the work field. There are a lot of opportunities that are available through ROTC for a wide variety of our students. We pride ourselves on having students that come from all walks of life and with all interests going forward in their life. Air Force ROTC provides that opportunity for them to learn discipline, to learn to be part of a team, working together, the camaraderie, the work ethic, all those things that we embody in our cadet creed and that these guys recite every day in class with our cadet creed. And then in addition to that, the class that you're talking about, this drone class, this small unmanned aircraft systems class, this is a dual enrollment class with Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University. So the kids that are in this class, they've gone through some pretty rigorous screening. They have to have at least a 2.5 unweighted GPA to be able to enroll in the dual enrollment class. and they have to have done very well in a prerequisite class that I teach in the fall. And so there's 15 of them. They're all ROTC cadets, and they're in this class, and they'll receive 3 hours of college credit for the class when they complete it and pass it. And then even more importantly, they'll have an opportunity at the end to take a certification exam. When they pass, notice I said when, not if, when they pass their certification exam, this gives them a certification in small unmanned aircraft systems, and it'll allow them to do things commercially if they desire with drones. And as everybody in your audience out there knows, that this is a technology that's just growing and exploding, and it may not be tomorrow, but it probably won't be long before the FedEx or UPS package that delivers to your front door may be delivered by a small unmanned aircraft like the ones that these guys are learning about and learning how to fly.
So with Jenna, all right, and Shah, can you all tell me, why did you join JROTC?
I joined JROTC because when I first got in high school, I never really said much, so I thought that being in JROTC would give me a chance to kind of get out there and communicate with others. And on top of that, I had a passion already. Ever since I was a child, I knew that I wanted to be in the military, so I wanted to get some hands-on experience to see if this was exactly what I wanted to do as a career, so I joined JROTC because of that.
Okay, thank you. Shah?
Well, I didn't join right away in my 9th grade year. However, I knew I was going to join my sophomore year because my brother, who was a senior at the time, my freshman year, he was also in ROTC, and I saw all the cool, fun things he was doing. But I didn't want to get into it right away. But I kind of regret that decision now because I missed out on a lot of fun experiences in my 9th grade year. I mean, I did have fun 9th grade, but I could have had way much more fun. And it just seems like a fun experience and a lot of opportunities that I could take. And I honestly feel bad for a lot of kids that aren't in ROTC because they don't even know what they're missing out on. It's so much fun.
And I know a lot of students on campus, they don't think about fun. They think about, oh, is it boot camp? You know, what is it? So can you tell us, what do we expect to see? If we were to go in your classroom, what do we expect to see, like the hands-on experience that you all mentioned?
Well, we talk about a lot in class. We're mainly learning and stuff, but sometimes we'll go out and like PT or physical train. And every once in a while, instead of like doing a mile and doing push-ups and stuff, we'll like play basketball and soccer and games like that. And if you come into a class while we're learning, I mean, the cadets learn or know how to have a lot of fun and learning and stuff. So I mean, there's a lot of respect to it, as in like when the teacher's talking, no one's talking. But you know, we get a lot of like group assignments to work on, and you know, it gets pretty fun in there.
Okay, and Janaya?
I think when you come into our classroom, one of the things that you can expect to see is everyone working together. I think that most times a lot of people see JROTC as something where it's so strict, like you can't move or you can't do anything. But when you come into our classroom, after we're done doing everything that we know we have to give our attention to our cadet creed, after that, we're just like a big family. I think everyone is learning, and we're all helping each other learn together. I think that's one of the main things that you would see in our classroom.
Yeah, let me add two things to their excellent answers. One is all Air Force ROTC classrooms are comprised of really 3 or 4 components that are required. The aerospace science piece, that's an academic piece. The leadership piece, which is extremely important. We teach them leadership capabilities and how to become leaders. And you heard Cadet Harris say there how she has, and I'll validate that, how she's blossomed under the within ROTC and the leadership component. And then we have drill component, outside learning drill and ceremonies. And then finally we have that physical training component. But besides that, then ROTC in the academic sense in the classroom, ROTC is almost like a club or an athletic team in that we have after school activities, after school practices, and so we'll have many different teams that the cadets can join and be a part of and work towards and compete in competitions around the state.
Okay, so you kind of mentioned as well looking at essentially soft skills, basically preparing these youth for what's going to occur and what's going to happen with them and their plans for their future. So can you share with us, why is it important to have these soft skills and what you're actually providing to your students?
You know, I think there is a lot of, we hear this from every generation where adults of our age go, boy, I just don't really understand this generation. What are they thinking? What are they learning? But they're no different than when we were their age. You know, we're looking for what we need to do to be able to succeed in life and reach our goals. And so ROTC provides a lot of that guidance, and it can be specifically tailored to the individual student's needs, where their weak areas are, And those soft skills, whether it be communication, leadership, followership, teamwork, working in small groups, working in bigger groups, compromise, and then sometimes, and these guys will, I think, attest to this, there's things that may not be their particularly favorite thing to do that day, but they do it well, they work hard at it because they know that's the task for the day, and so it teaches them, that work ethic. One of the big misnomers about ROTC is, well, I'm not interested in joining the military, so I can't do ROTC, and the exact opposite is true. The great majority of students that do high school ROTC do not go on to go into the military, and we are not a recruiting service. We help students like these who may want to go into the military get connected with recruiters or with the Air Force Academy, the other academies, ROTC in college, those kinds of things, but the majority of our cadets are there to learn the lessons and be part of that group, and the military piece is just the overlay.
Okay, good, excellent.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh, and to piggyback on what he just said about, not being just to join the military, they have a lot of cool lessons about like future, setting us up for the future. Like they teach us about like taxes and like rent and stuff, like paying off payments and like 401ks. There's a whole lesson on it. And there's also lessons on like college, for instance. They have a lot of lessons on like showing us like how to make a college application and looking at what colleges are best suited for you.
So what are your plans when you leave high school? When you graduate and walk across that stage, what are you planning on doing? Shah?
My plans? Oh, go ahead, Shah.
So after high school, I plan to apply to different colleges. I plan to join ROTC in college, but my main goal is to get into a service academy. So I'm planning on going into the Air Force after that.
Nice. Okay. Janaya?
My plans for after high school is to join the Air Force.
Okay.
So for somebody like Janaya who does plan to join the Air Force, high school ROTC, because she'll have done it more than 2 years, that will enable her when she does join the Air Force and goes in and completes basic training, she'll immediately be rank advanced to an E3 rank, so she'll make more money and have more responsibility right off the bat just based on her ROTC experience. And for Shah, high school ROTC gives him the leg up on other students in terms of getting that Air Force Academy appointment. There are avenues that we can help him with to get that Air Force Academy appointment. Very difficult thing to get, but he's the kind of guy we want there.
So you all are actually creating opportunities beyond
Right.
the high school level.
Right.
So even if they do decide to go into the armed services or any branch of service, they could actually go in ahead of the others.
Exactly.
Okay, nice. All right, so what do you do to kind of get your students outside of the classroom, such as like field trips, to get them out there outside of what do we normally typically see in the classroom?
So we have a wonderful blessed advantage that some of the other classes at the high school don't have, and that is, we get a little bit of funding from headquarters Air Force Junior ROTC from the Air Force, and so we have the ability to take a few more field trips, do a few more things outside the classroom. This year, thus far, we took a field trip to the Kennedy Space Center. We took a field trip up to Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Daytona Beach to give them an opportunity to see flying operations there, and we had planned to actually get them up in the air and let them fly a little bit, but the weather was bad and they didn't get to fly. They were a little disappointed, but we do field trips to competitions like drill competitions, physical fitness PT team competitions, sports, sports-related type activities. So yeah, the great opportunities to get outside the classroom. Not to mention that the class that these guys are in right now, my drone class, we have Friday fly days, which is, I'll pretend they really like the academic days, but I know their favorite days are the Friday fly days. On Fridays, we get outside with the small unmanned aircraft that are provided to us by Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, and we get out on our athletic fields and we fly.
Okay, so I'm gonna take a step back because I know you also mentioned competition. Are you all involved in competition as well, especially like looking at the drone competition?
I'm particularly me. I'm part of the Cyber Patriots team at our school. Our season's over right now, but we're still practicing for next year. And it's basically a cyber defense team where we're given a scenario, and a scenario with a computer with like certain problems with it and like certain vulnerabilities to like hackers and like just things that you wouldn't want on your computer, and we have to pretty much fix the computer through that, and we get points based on the different things we do to it. And there's like a number of different things that like wrong with it, and there's a lot to fix. And we're given about like 2 hours per scenario, and we're given about 2 to 3 scenarios per competition.
And these are nationwide competitions.
Wow, wow. So you're competing against the best of the best within our nation.
Yeah,
Wow.
definitely.
Okay, Shania, are you competing?
No.
No. Are you planning on competing?
I don't know yet.
Okay. Well, we still have a full, rest of the year, so you can kind of dwell on that. So we're going to take a step back. You also mentioned entry certifications, which I know both of you are also involved in that. Let's take a step back, because I know a lot of people in our viewing audience, they don't exactly know what exactly is an entry certification. Can you explain to us what exactly is that?
Sure. So in a lot of ways, with my particular class that I teach, the Small Unmanned Aircraft Systems class, it's no different than, say, a culinary arts class, which may be more familiar to some people in the audience. If you take a culinary arts class, there's a certification exam at the end, and someone who passes that certification exam, it's a professional standard that it allows them entry level to be able to use the skills that they learned in that particular class. It's no different than passenger driver's license exam, passenger driver's test, both the written and the actual driving one, and they give you a driver's license. So in the case of my drone class, if they pass the drone certification, they're given an actual Small Unmanned Aircraft Systems drone certification through the Unmanned Safety Institute, USI, nationally accredited, and it enables them with a little bit more work on their half to get some qualifications from the Federal Aviation Administration, or the FAA, to actually use drones commercially. They're allowed to go out and make money. They're allowed to do things, and that's as simple as letting your friend, Shah's mom's a real estate agent. He could work with her, and he could use a drone to film houses that she's managing on the market, and provides video and looks of a house that's a lot better than just still photographs taken from the street, right? So yeah, then like I said, the job market is exploding in this field, and so it could provide them lots of opportunities.
Okay. Now, with drone certification, okay, because I know this is brand new for Georgia Coast High School, correct? All right.
Is.
And this is something that you basically initiated. You came in and said, this is something we want to offer, and...
Right. So with my background in aviation and the Air Force, that got me 3/4 of the way through the door with Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in terms of certification for me to offer these classes. While I was on active duty in the Air Force, I taught at graduate school level, at the master's level as well. So with my certifications and then working through with Embry-Riddle, and then, as I mentioned earlier, the about 50-hour course that I took online with them specific to the drones themselves, that certified me to teach these classes and add these classes to the suite of classes that we offer at Air Force ROTC at Treasure Coast High School. As you said, talking to them, these are juniors and seniors, and so that's the level. It's juniors and seniors that are in these classes, and so the current year's sophomores have already expressed their intent of next year of wanting, to take these classes, and the class is only going to grow.
Because I know I've had the opportunity to actually see you all at work and actually flying these drones on campus. And I can tell you firsthand by looking, when I looked around, it was like students were coming out of the classroom, trying to find out, hey, what's going on out there?
It's different than your normal math classes, isn't it?
Yes. So what's your take on it? Are you all excited about this drone certification, and do you have any plans on using it once you actually become certified?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like Colonel said, I would definitely plan on helping my mom with that. And I mean, I could also help some of my mom's friends, because she has a lot of other realtors. I mean, I could probably make a little bit of money off of that as a high school student, because I mean, I have a lot of rigorous courses, so I don't really have time to get a job during my senior year. So that could help me out, like on the weekends.
Nice. Okay. Do you have any plans?
No, ma'am. But if that's where life takes me, then I definitely will use that certification, because I think it's an amazing certification to have. And also on top of that, I feel like a lot of kids, like Shaw said earlier, don't realize that they're missing out on a lot in JROTC, because there are a lot of kids who are like, they come out of their classroom like, wait, what are you guys doing? How do I join that class? And we're like, you have to join JROTC to do it. So I think it's something that's really awesome, and I think that when other children see like younger cadets like us doing it, I think that's what motivates them to say, hey, I want to join JROTC because I see a certification and I want to use that to get me through the door to the career that I want.
And like I said earlier, I mean, a lot of kids don't even know what they're missing out on in ROTC. That's why they're so surprised when they see all this cool stuff we're doing.
So one thing that we want to actually show our viewing audience is the actual video that actually highlights some of the things that you all are doing in your classroom. It was actually done by and completed by Mr. Newton and his students from Centennial High School. So take a look. one of the things that I also want to discuss is volunteer experience, all right? Because I know it's vital to students actually at the high school level getting out there and giving back to the community, not just going to school every day. So can you all share with us, what do you do as volunteer?
Well, with ROTC specifically, I know one thing I really enjoy doing is the Sarah's Kitchen we have about once a month. And even sometimes I'll go on my own, because we only do it once a month, but the Sarah's Kitchen is every week on Monday. So sometimes I'll go by myself because I just really enjoy helping them out. It's in St. Lucie. It's a church in St. Lucie West where they give out free food to people in need of the free food, and it's really fun because they give us a free plate of food as well if we help out, and we get to help clean up and vacuum and just clean up the church for their services the following Sunday.
Okay.
Community service is something that's very awesome to me. I love it a lot because it helps me to get out. Like at such a young age, I feel like a lot of kids don't really care about the community where they are. So when we do Adopt a Road and we're like out cleaning trash, I think it's something that's amazing because not only am I getting to help, the community by cleaning it up, but I get to do it with the people that I love that are in the unit.
Okay.
Yeah, we talked a lot earlier about the academic piece of ROTC. That's obviously a key pillar of Air Force Junior ROTC at Treasure Coast High School, but community service is another key pillar of everything that we do and everything that we try to teach the cadets. We just this past week for this school year exceeded 3,000 hours of community service time amongst our Corps of Cadets. So we're very proud of that. That's true of all our ROTC units in our community. They all work hard in the community. We support the local school district. We support our local government, St. Lucie County, the mayor, when they ask us all those kinds of things. We do a lot of color guards for a lot of events. Very recently we supported the opening of the Little League season at Whispering Pine Parks with a color guard. And this Saturday, if your folks are traveling around, they may see a bunch of us in bright highlighter yellow shirts as we march or as we walk down the sidewalk of St. Lucie Boulevard. We're having a baton death march is what it's called, but it honors those that survived and didn't survive in 1942 during World War II in the Philippines during their capture by the Japanese and Bataan servicemen there. So we're always out in the community, and as Cadet Hossein said, all we have to do is find a way to throw some food in as a free incentive, and they're always ready to volunteer. And then for you guys, why don't you guys talk about the scholarship opportunity that comes with those community service volunteer hours?
Well, it does take a lot of community service hours, but I think it's called the Bright Future Scholarship, where you also, along with volunteer hours, you do need certain SAT and ACT scores, but you need and there's different levels of the scholarship as well for depending on how many hours of community service you have and what the scores you got. But focusing more on the community service aspect, you need about 100 to 200, and I think it's only in one school year you need that. And ROTC helps out a lot with that because a lot of kids, it's kind of hard to find volunteer opportunities. I just learned recently that my neighbors are looking for volunteer hours recently. But I mean, me being an ROTC, I kind of was shocked about that because there's volunteer opportunities for me everywhere, and I know easily where to find them. So I didn't even know the other half of it. That was kind of hard for some people to find these volunteer hours.
All right, so if you all had to share with our viewing audience, let's say a student's thinking about, they're very curious about JROTC, if you can give maybe a recommendation, what would you say if a student was kind of in between, should I go to medical, should I go to JROTC? What would be the reason why you say, hey, come join JROTC at Treasure Coast?
Well, going off of that, one really big reason that you should join ROTC is because joining ROTC, you're also able to join another academy along with that, which is a pretty cool thing because when I joined JROTC at first, I was also in another academy, which I had to drop for do enrollment classes, but it was still pretty cool to have two academies. Not a lot of kids got that.
For me, I would say that if they're considering doing JROTC, I would say that you should choose that over the other academies because when it comes down to JROTC, I feel like we're not just focusing on one thing, but we focus on everything that we can think of. If it's something about life that's really real, we focus on that. Say, for instance, if purchasing a house, no one is focusing on telling a kid how to purchase a house right now. But in JROTC, we're talking about rent. We're talking about things that have to do with medical. When I was first, on my first year of JROTC, as a freshman, I was learning about medical. So I feel like JROTC is all around. If you feel like you want to do medical, but you want to do JROTC too, I would say go to JROTC because, it's like a one, everything in one. So.
And now, one thing I do understand that, can a student also join JROTC and another program, or are they limited to just JROTC?
No, as these guys said, the opportunities are there for them to be part of JROTC and also be a part of any other academy that they would like to be part of, or CTE class that they'd like to be a part of. And as they said, the great diversity in Air Force Junior ROTC includes their ability to shape how they want the program to be. These guys are two of my most outstanding cadets, and very rarely do we have an activity that they're not there putting in all those extra hours. But it's also perfectly fine for folks who just want to go to class and be part of class to do it. So the cadets get to sort of define how they intend to get involved in ROTC and the depth to which they intend to get involved. We encourage them to go deeper all the time. But for folks that have a job after school and things like that may limit the number of activities they can participate in, there's plenty of room for those kinds of kids to join us as cadets as well.
Okay, thank you. So you all also mentioned essentially articulation agreements, earning college credits. Can you explain how many college credits can a student gain, especially being a part of the Embry-Riddle course that you're actually offering this year?
Sure. So the standard progression for a cadet at Treasure Coast High School, their freshman and sophomore year, we're really into the basics of ROTC, really into the basics of leadership and aerospace science, and then the drill and the PT as well. Their junior year is when they would have the opportunity, if they meet the prerequisites, to be part of the dual enrollment courses. I offer a dual enrollment course on aerospace science in the fall semester of the junior year, and then the drone class that we've been talking about, the small unmanned aircraft systems class, in the spring. Both of those classes offer 3 hours of college credit. So these cadets that do very well, like these two in those classes, they're going to walk out of their junior, and Cadet Harris's case, senior year, with 6 hours of college credit. When you think that most college students take somewhere around 15 hours of credit a semester, you're talking about a half or at least a third of a semester's worth of credit before you ever start college.
Okay.
Oh, and piggybacking off of that, I know at the Indian River State College here in Port St. Lucie, they actually take credits from Embry-Riddle, which is where most students at our school do enrollment classes.
Okay. All right, so thank you all for joining us today. We have to close, all right? So can you share with us one last time the importance of having JROTC in its aerospace program?
Sure, I'll start. I mean, I'll let these guys finish and bring it home. But I just feel like it's just an awesome opportunity. Air Force Junior ROTC is an awesome opportunity for kids from all walks of life to be part of a great team, to learn, to compete, to grow, to expand their horizons, and really provide them opportunities for the future. And most of if not all of these activities that we've been talking about, to include all of the dual enrollment stuff, comes at zero cost to them as well.
I'm Lanisha Robinson, and this is Career and Technical Education, #BuildAFuture. That's all for this show, but we invite you to view our St. Lucie Public Schools Career and Technical Education page. Career and Technical Education is building career pathways, which are pipelines for all of our students. We are building a future and continuing to close the skills gap. On behalf of the station's team, I'd like to thank you for joining us today.